Somehow, my daughters fell in love with Formula One. I don't know how or why, but I'm not arguing. They may not know wheel, but does anyone?
Hi, and welcome to We Don't Know Wheel F1. I'm Ann.
And I'm Grace. We're two sisters who fell in love with Formula One, and now we make all our friends join us on a podcast about Formula One. Welcome to the show.
And I'm Sarah.
And Shelley. Welcome to the show, Sarah and Shelley.
Oh, I was supposed to do that? Sorry.
It's giving, and I'm Denise.
I feel like SNL is having a bit of a revival right now.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our pop culture podcast.
I will say I've watched more SNL in the last 3 months than I have in a long time.
Well, it is always having a revival during political season.
Right. Like Tina Fey, Sarah Palin, Kate McKinnon, Hillary Clinton.
Speaking of politics, how about all of the Spanish-speaking drivers bullying Liam Lawson?
I love it.
Sarah trying to get us on track here.
Let's get into it.
I think it's the other way around.
Why is Liam Lawson? Yeah, did I send like a Tumblr thing or a meme about why does he only hate the Spanish-speaking drivers?
I don't know if you sent it, but I saw a video of Fernando,
oh my gosh,
Carlos,
yeah.
Franco. Checo, thank you. Yes. I don't know if Franco was in there.
He was.
No, there are different videos of each of the, yeah.
They're chit-chatting and someone's like, you just know they're talking about Liam. And then
the hot news today,
4 feet away on the driver's parade.
Steak, the news has dropped.
Yeah.
They finally have a second driver.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Can anybody remember his name?
Brazilian driver.
I don't follow Steak.
I know that much.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Leto.
I'm on it.
Thank you, Shelley.
He was a previous F2 champion, I think. And
He's
apparently
currently in the F2 championship.
Okay. And I
he's
think he was
right
a
now.
reserve driver for McLaren.
Yeah.
So sweet. Wait, and he's Brazilian.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really fun. I like a Brazilian.
I feel like everyone looked around and was like, wait, Franco's getting a lot of sponsorship. Checo's about to be out the door.
Yeah.
Latin America's a market.
F1's huge in Latin America.
Williams. What if Red Bull signs Franco Colapinto?
That's okay.
We're
literally
just stop,
said that
Sarah.
in the last podcast, Sarah.
What makes sense right now is that Red Bull takes Carlos, and then Franco fills the second Williams seat, and then
Red Bull had
Checo
Carlos. So do they want Carlos or not? Because if they wanted Carlos, they should have kept him.
They're going to get Carlos. Checo's going to RB.
Carlos.
And Franco will be in Williams. That is the grid that I want.
If they wanted to, they would. If they wanted to, they would.
Nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
Good one, Sarah.
Okay, I have a question for all of you. On Saturday, when quali was supposed to happen, I was busy and I never turned on quali. Did they have just like the commentators talking for like an hour waiting to see if it was actually going to start?
They had the commentators talking for like 8 hours.
The commentators should be getting big, huge, fat bonuses, as should the mechanics, as should anybody that's making less than 150K a year on any of those teams.
Yeah, and it was pretty much like they're tossing it back and forth. And then apparently when it was like, we really need to pause, there was like a cutoff after Will was trying to pass it to someone else and it just cut off. And they were like the live feed for like 15, 20 minutes. And then it was just like
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you watch
so funny?
Well, I was like, what's going on? And then I like stopped it. And then I came back and Will was like, sorry about that. We just had to figure some things out. And I was like, okay, what's going on?
That's so funny. Okay, during that time, would they announce, oh, we're going to try and start quali at this time? And then the time would come and it'd still be raining like crazy?
It was like 15-minute intervals that they were like using to keep track of weather and different things. So It was a
That's so funny.
mess.
Well, what do you guys think of the whole discussion of like, should they have been required to wear wets? Should they have just red flagged the whole
For the
race?
race or for quali?
Race.
I
Because
think
say-
regardless,
I think what they did with quali made sense.
yeah, I think regardless of if they should be required to use wets, I think the fact that there was so much water and only 2 drivers during the race actually went to the wet tire because it's so awful shows that Pirelli needs to make a better wet weather tire.
That's what Lewis Hamilton said.
Also, that's interesting. And if Lewis said it, then I agree.
Yeah, well, you're gonna say something else
Trust
against
Lewis
it?
more than me, Sarah.
Honestly,
Lewis
people were
World
saying
champion, Lewis Hamilton.
the wets weren't even going to be that good, and so I believe that. And
Well,
I
as soon as
believe
it
they
starts
I
drying up
believe
at
that.
all,
I
the
believe
wets are
that.
awful.
I think they should have shelved the race and just like
Whoa.
Really?
I said it when we were
Wow.
watching. I said, let's just start over for next weekend.
Yeah, but I
And
think the hard
didn't
part of
happen.
that is like all those people go, they paid a lot of money. There's like a huge financial incentive to the economy and all the people at that race to be like, we're going to provide a race. So, how can they make it when they have these conditions? Because sometimes they do shelve it, but how can they make it when they have these conditions so it is safe for the drivers? And I think that leads, in my mind, to like make the wet tires better. But even if you had
I
used the
agree with
wet,
that. I
there's
also think-
such issue with spray. It's like the visibility becomes nothing.
Mhm.
I say, okay, because what I heard that I thought was interesting is that people basically don't use the wet tires because by the time you put them on, they're going to call a red flag because that's the window is so small between like
Yeah, that
needing a
too.
wet tire and red flag that teams don't even bother to put the wet tires on. They just stay on inters until it's dangerous and then hope for that they're going to call that red flag. So it seems like you could maybe adjust how you're making those calls too. Yes, Shelley?
again, over when we were watching the race, my take was that with these tracks, we make them available if there are like
Wait,
very dangerous.
I'm
I
remembering
said as
this.
a joke that there should be a giant tent that goes over it, an eco-friendly giant tent that
Stop.
goes over the track. In those
about
like
the
crazy
fumes?
conditions, we have the technology. Anyways, that would be
He's an architect.
that is my like way into seeing the solution of like upgrading these tracks other than,
I mean, we all saw
repaving.
the like Mario Kart track inspo thing. Didn't you see that? What the thing that was like they're gonna build this track in Abu Dhabi or whatever, and it
Yes.
was like full
Stop.
Hot Wheels track.
That-
I mean, it
that's
was
a
giving
little-
AI. It was giving AI, but you could put a roof on it.
Okay, here's my hot take. When they need to red flag a race like that or quali, then you're like, okay, the cars cannot safely be on this track, but you can. And then they have to run the track or they have to
DJ
like
dance party.
they bike the track or they have to do something on the track. They have to do a talent show. They
I said that they should box out the rest. Like again, and during the race, I said they should just box now, like to finish this out. Because there were so
and
many
not box.
safety cars. No, not box. Box
She's
with
like,
your
get in the
hand.
boxing ring.
Because I think it was like last weekend, Oscar said, remember, people used to take care of things off the track. But yeah, we should
Yeah,
actually
that
do
NASCAR
that.
rule should be brought
Yeah.
into Formula One.
He
Oh my
said that, and
gosh.
so I thought, he's not wrong, maybe.
Box.
I think they just need more consistency of like how much rain coming down, how much wind, how much water on the track before they call a red flag. Because sometimes it feels like they call them too easily. Sometimes it like this race after was it Nico spun off and they did like the safety car for a while
Yeah.
and then Franco spun off and then they called a red flag. It felt like after Nico's they needed to have a red flag for a little while because the rain was getting really bad. They needed to clear Nico's car.
I think they only called that red flag because of where they were on
Because
the
of Franco?
track. Yeah, I don't think that
Yeah.
was like for weather.
Yeah.
I don't think they were
What?
ever thinking about calling the red flag for weather.
No,
What
they
did they
probably
call it
weren't.
for? Oh, for the car on the
Franco
track?
crashed.
For Franco's crash because it was
Oh,
in a bad spot too. It was like not a spot
yeah.
that they can easily remove a car
But they
from.
There was
will
gas.
theoretically call a red flag for rain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they have.
yeah.
I mean, when Checo won Monaco, they red flagged the start because there was too much rain.
Maybe the easy answer is that they rescheduled Brazil for like a non-crazy weather
Then
time of the year. I don't know.
Oh, you mean overall, in general?
Yeah, they
in
moved
like
Brazil to, I don't know.
They moved Brazil on the
I
calendar.
I think the problem with like
They do it for
the
Canada.
climate
It's changing. Is that what you're gonna say?
I
is
don't know,
that
guys. That's
like
pretty
where
controversial.
is livable? Where is drivable? You like would pick, you think you're picking the right season, but it doesn't matter. It can all go to
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, I think dealing with the unpredictability of weather and like dealing with rain races is part of what makes someone deserving of a championship.
Yeah, because let's talk about Max for a minute.
Let's.
And
Insane
that's
drive.
on Max Verstappen. Okay, here's my
Wait.
favorite political F1 meme I saw this
Let's
today.
hear it.
It was just a map of America before it was really called, when it was still like, these are the undecided states, and the undecided was all in red, or not red, in orange. And then it was the red and blue, and then it just had a picture of Max Verstappen, like Max for America. I liked it.
I don't think I saw anything on Twitter that was mixing politics and Formula One today.
I
It
saw
was on Instagram.
too many. And
Too many.
particularly with Max. I don't know why.
Oh,
Again,
not fun.
I've said before, Max in America, there's some crossover there.
Some crossover.
Anyways,
I think we should just, I think that Max should be told, like, if you really want to make this championship seem impressive, don't compete for the next two races. And then
Mhm.
show that you can
That's
still
wild,
win, even if
Andy.
you
It's
don't.
sort of, it's like a
no.
Knight's Tale situation.
Do you see
It's like,
Christian's
if
eyes?
you really love
Got behind
me,
for a more dramatic victory.
No, Christian's eyes, he's desperate. Like, he is scared. He's already, yeah, he's not pulling that card. We're not doing that. I was gonna say, to start with Max's, obviously his really big win this weekend is like started from quali, which was like crazy how he not only had the 5 place penalty because of I think the engine that they put in, but he was cut out in Q3, I think it was. Or yeah, Q2.
Oh, he didn't make it to Q3.
He was
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
he was
yeah,
cut. I
yeah.
get what you're
He was
saying.
cut.
Got it.
Yeah.
Which
He
was
wasn't cut.
he just didn't have enough time. And I was like watching it live, mind blown. I was like, this is happening. He's not gonna get through. And in Q1,
Blown.
Lando almost got cut. He was like, I think it was very
Oh, I
last minute
know.
that he was like the bottom, very bottom, and then he, I think, went to number 1 at that point. So
I think that was, yeah, to me, the more like exciting and shocking part of quali was watching Lando, because I think during both Q1 and Q2, points was like way at the
he was
bottom
struggling.
and then jumped up right at the last second.
Yeah. Oof.
Which, I mean, Lando's quali lap, super impressive. Max's drive during the race, in my opinion, was even more impressive.
whoa.
It was. Even Sarah said she was voting for him for driver of the day.
I did vote for him for driver of the day, and I should
Did he
say
win
this
driver
on
of the day?
here.
He must have.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I voted for
Sorry,
Max
Mom.
for driver of the day.
Oh, I've heard that the family fantasy rules are going to be amended to allow the use of
Potentially.
math
Potentially
and Red Bull.
for next
And
year,
with
we're
the like
thinking
actual
about it.
cash prize now.
Yeah, and now that we talk about it, I'm rethinking that decision.
What are you
Max
showing?
Verstappen voted driver of the
I
day
saw that. I saw that when we were watching live.
after masterclass in Sao Paulo.
Hats off to you, Max, and cheers. And I'm sorry your dad didn't come to the podium, but
Wasn't good enough for dad.
at least you have Kelly. She seems cool, and you're fast, and you're mean, and that's what I like about you.
That's what I
And you
like.
ignore me. I love it.
That's too real, Shelley. You crossed the line.
Oh, your little yeah, love note to Max.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
Speaking of Max,
yeah.
Alpine, like,
Holy
Speaking of Max,
moly.
how did that
That's
happen?
rough.
I mean, that makes a
Speaking
podium,
of the
Sarah.
last time Max and Estee talked to each other, no,
And then Pierre and Esteban, I
wasn't
feel
that
like
also Brazil?
Yes, it
last
was.
year. Yeah, it was.
But
That was
back
not
in
last
like
year, many years
2017.
ago. Yeah, but still, I love it. I love it. I live for
love
the
it.
drama. And I think that, winning makes everybody friends.
That's true. And that's true.
If there's anything winners love, it's other winners.
I've seen way too many memes about it was like Esteban, Pierre, kiss now. There's been so many, and I also said the
When
same
did I say
thing.
that?
I said that. I was like, because it was like right when they had finished and they were like going to hug their
You
mechanic.
did
And I
You
said,
did say that.
yes. And they had their helmets on.
They
Um,
kissed through the helmets.
Watching them after the race very
Uh.
much felt like two people who previous really didn't like each other, went through some harrowing emotional experience together, and afterwards were like, bro, dude, I love you. And then an hour later would be fighting again with each other.
Really?
It
No, I think
felt-
it's solidified.
Oh, yeah.
You think it's solidified? I do not.
I think because Esteban's gone now. I mean, they'll like
The
be
rift
actually
runs
racing.
deep,
But
Shelley.
no, now it's like this is a chapter close.
I
We were
think-
teammates. We ended on a good chapter.
Hot take. I
Race.
bet Esteban's annoying. And that's
That's not a hot take.
I don't think it's
Not a
that
hot take at
hot.
Why are
all.
you saying that?
the hottest take tonight. Esteban is annoying. And so I feel like that Pierre is constantly like, you're bothering me. It's like
Sibling.
it's like someone who wants to tag along. It's a little brother who's like, come on. Oh my gosh, wait, I have things to tell you. And then Pierre's like, no, stop bothering me. I gotta go hang out with my cool friends, Charles.
Grace is really unloading her eldest
I
child
know.
energy
Well,
tonight.
oh, no,
Mean. This is mean.
Gosh, that had nothing. I said oldest brother. I've never been or had a brother.
it's different. It's different.
It's a totally different dynamic. Shelley knows this dynamic.
I was gonna say,
She
don't do
has
this to them.
brothers.
Don't do this to them on their winning weekend. That's crazy, Grace. That's the hot
They're
take.
gonna hear this and realize that you're right, and it's gonna tear them apart again.
All
Who cares
right.
about if they won? He's annoying him. That's what
Well,
the
I feel
headline
like
is.
who cares about who won?
Yeah, I know that's how you feel.
Well, I feel like Pierre needs to get over it. Pierre feels like the kind of person who's desperate to be cool. And
Yeah.
Esteban feels like the kind of person who doesn't have like a great, I don't know, he's not reading all the social cues correctly all the time. So that's like a very bad pair together.
I don't know them enough.
Shelley's like,
I honestly don't
I
know them
couldn't
enough.
say. I
So
couldn't
I'm
possibly
not-
comment.
I'm not putting my stamp of approval on this. Just putting that out there because I don't know them enough and I don't know if Grace knows enough.
I also want to publicly distance myself from Grace. If we're doing that now.
now is the time. Stop. Everyone knows
Join us
I-
next week when I have a new co-host. I'm just kidding. We love you, Grace. You are the heart and soul of this podcast.
It better be.
I watched Sprint, and I don't know if everyone else watched it, but the biggest controversy there was the
Great sprint.
McLarens. Yes, great sprint. It was dry. I think, yeah, it was a dry
Yeah,
sprint. So
I could not believe how long McLaren put it off to switch Lando and Oscar. I kept watching especially when like Max and Charles were fighting with each other. I kept feeling like now is your moment. Do it, do it, do it. And McLaren just like kept waiting to actually switch the cars, and it was stressing me out.
I'm just now remembering I did watch the sprint.
good. Got anything to add?
I agree with everything Anne has just said.
Well, I was in the camp of like, in the beginning, I was annoyed because they were doing like these little radios in the beginning of like, hey, like, especially with Lando just being like, is he gonna slow down? And in my mind, I was just like, catch up. If you want it, catch up to Oscar. Honestly, that was me for a bit. It was fine. I think we got it out. He would have won if they didn't switch. He got that point across. So, but it was crazy, especially in the timing of the safety car, right? Or not the safety car, the yellow flag.
Yellow
It was
flag.
either a
Yeah, there's been
VSC
a
or
lot
full
of
safety
Oh,
car
yeah.
stuff
at the end.
that has
Yeah.
very much felt like, but then I don't know. Like I said, what is F1? Isn't it all about the cheating, the fudging
Right.
We
the
did this last
rules?
Because there
week.
was like at least a half a lap between the yellow flags
That one
coming out
felt
and a safety car.
extremely suspicious. But then also, same vein, I mean, like Lando and George were distinctly unlucky. I
Yeah.
think people were really coming for Lando for that statement about Max being lucky. And I think it's hard because he was like in the car, seeing himself like pit, and then there's a red flag when he's come out.
He's like, oh, I could have been leading if I just stayed out.
Yeah.
It was
And that's like,
tragic.
that is unlucky. It doesn't take away from like Max was masterful and drove really well. Sorry, Mom.
And well,
But
that
like,
wasn't what he was saying. If you actually listen to the interview, they're like separate
That was taken
questions.
out of context, actually.
So
wow,
it really
she's a
was.
Lando girly. Okay, I think on Tumblr I saw something from a girl. I'm back really on the Tumblr these days.
Good. I love it.
There was a girl who was basically like, I never thought I'd go so quickly from loving Lando to tolerating him. And I was like, oof, that is like so quintessentially American, I feel like.
It's the
Where you're
winner's
like,
effect.
yes, it is. 100%. I was like, you're not a true fan. No.
I hate you.
Stop.
I know you're 12 and I hate you.
There's no 12-year-olds on Tumblr. They're all my age.
Don't be ridiculous.
Tumblr stopped taking on new people 20 years ago. No,
You can't sign up.
you can't even sign up. I mean, I will say, okay, the girl on or the person on Instagram who Sarah sends with like the beautiful art, they're on
Oof.
Tumblr.
Formula Annie.
She's on Tumblr and she's a Max fan. I did not know that.
She is a
And-
Max fan.
And a Fernando fan, right?
Yeah.
And an Oscar
Big
fan.
Fernando fan.
And an Oscar fan.
And a Carlos fan.
Kind of half the grid.
Oh.
What
But-
was that? Okay, and then Max in the conference after the race saying, "Where are all the British journalists?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
That
that,
was so
Max.
funny.
Love.
So good. He likes to stir the pot. He likes to, get a little messy. He's not afraid to say it.
And
Yeah,
He
that's
did
should
you
not
be on
see-
Love
America.
Island. I'm changing my Love Island cast. I cast Max. But in 2017, would
What's
he
gonna
have
happen
been
then?
17? I don't
He
know,
would've
just
been
like when
like
a
he was
he would've
really
been-
crazy.
He would have been like 19 years old.
That's
Because
a
I think
little
he
young.
started F1 in 2015 and he was 17.
A little young.
Changing subjects.
Thank you.
I put it in, I think, our Instagram thing, but I'm not sure many saw it. But immediately after this race, the drivers gathered into the Grand Prix Drivers Association and they created an Instagram page. And
Yeah,
all
I'm
the
following
drivers
it.
Yes,
followed
I
it.
did see that.
And they're gonna be vocal, and I'm here for it.
Are
They're
they? Because they
coming
haven't
together.
posted anything.
They haven't, but they're all
They're gonna
following
be
it.
vocal.
And Seb is in it, so I'm like, this is good. I like having Seb here. And I think there is like,
It's nice to have an adult in the room.
I like that Seb is just around. He is truly, especially this weekend too, with all the Senna stuff. He's just like their Papa Doug. He's like, and they're all like these little ducklings following him. So I'm here for it.
Before I saw that you had put that in the Instagram group, I had seen someone post about it on Twitter, but phrasing it as like after this crazy race, because the drivers felt like it was unsafe, they decided to make a union and called it the GPDA and then showed this Instagram as the like, this is where it is. And all of the comments were like, this already existed. They just made a new Instagram page for it.
Yeah, it's existed.
It was very
and
funny.
They're organizing though. They're
Now
grassroots.
they're really coming
They've always
back.
been organized.
They're coming
Well, not
back to
always.
say
No, I
we
mean
can
they're
swear.
organizing.
Oh, got it.
We can swear. We can advocate for ourselves when we feel unsafe. I'm just here for the drivers.
They can
like,
swear, but I
coming back.
can't.
I love when the drivers get like riled up about a dangerous race.
I want to see a
I
strike.
love to see it.
I would like to see a strike.
I like it.
Okay.
It's taking this weekend was taking me back to, was that Japan 2020?
When Pierre got so mad.
Yes.
There
Pierre
was
was like, this is not safe. This is not right. I love that.
Was
technically
that last year or
there
the year
was
before?
It was the year before, I think.
there was a tractor out during a formation, I think during quali, and I also clocked that, and I was like, okay, they're not going fast, but
But they're still on the track with
yeah,
a thing that's not designed for them
huge
to run
tractor.
into it.
Yeah. So
Call me, my
they're
medical skills are available for consult on this. No.
they're organized, and I think we should support them and
I will agree. I loved
come after the
seeing
FIA.
Seb back at the track. It was very fun to see him there on
Yeah.
like Thursday and Friday. He was around, whichever
Well,
days.
let's talk
the,
for a second.
the giant helmet that they built of Senna's helmet, where they like went inside and were taking a picture. The first couple pictures I saw of that, I thought it was either like photoshopped thing or like it was an actual like helmet with just like a group picture put in like in the visor of the helmet or something.
You didn't
I
realize that
didn't
was
realize
a
it was-
life-size helmet, which is also
Yes.
like, it's not life-size, I guess. It's giant size.
It's giant size, yes.
Sorry.
Also, since I didn't get to watch anything live the day of the race, did any of you watch it live and get to see Lewis driving Senna's old car?
I didn't see that, no.
I
I saw like
rewatched
one
it.
picture after.
It was good.
Yeah.
Especially after McLaren or Mercedes was doing so bad, I kind of had been like, get Lewis back in Senna's car in this race.
Yeah. I think Brazil
Yeah.
is very life affirming for him.
What about Fernando? My baby boy Fernando
What about him?
getting out of that car at the end. What
Oh,
about him?
yeah.
Sorry.
How quickly they forget.
There was a radio from Fernando. I think basically there's like a few laps left, maybe a good
Mhm.
chunk where he'd said, I think he was basically finishing out the lap for the mechanics, especially since Aston, they had 2 DNFs during quali and then Lance DNF during the race. And so he kind of stuck it out there, even though, again, not only with the rain this weekend, the bumpiness, I think a lot of the drivers were not comfortable. So I can imagine the race amping that up and
Yeah.
Fernando seeing too many things. I don't know. I think
seemed
most
like-
of it's true, but the ambulance being or him being like,
I saw
make
that.
sure there's like
I
an
don't know if
ambulance
that's
there.
true.
But we did get the video of him getting out of the car and
We watched that
needing
live.
help.
We watched that live.
I wasn't paying attention.
Actually, we didn't watch that live.
She's
Okay,
lying.
but then the Carlos girlies, I'm not including myself in this, that were like, Carlos checking on Fernando. And it was like he slowed down to be like, okay, he's getting out of the car, and then just kept going. I was like, it's like a
It
check-in.
kinda
It's
looked
like a
like-
visual, like, okay, he's okay.
He kind of looked like,
Okay.
whoa, that dude is hurt.
Yeah.
And then he like
Fernando's
went
so
to pay.
old.
Stop. That's not what he did.
Wait, okay. I
That's
think
what Carlos thought.
yeah, the new driver, I think, is really good friends with Fernando.
The Brazilian guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Say his name again, Shelley.
Bertoletto. That's his
Bertoletto.
last name. Yeah.
That's his last name.
He said that Fernando was like hugely helpful in like counseling him
Aw.
on getting F1.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Another Fernando baby. It is interesting. Like, obviously, Lewis Hamilton, such a huge like name in the sport for so long. Fernando has like so many little fanboys on the track with him. Like Fernando got those baby boys out there.
Fernando is a
also-
boy's boy.
Fernando is like a little older than Lewis, so maybe in like 5 years we're about to get all the little Lewis Hamilton babies.
I kind
Which
of think so.
ostensibly Lando is a bit of a Lewis Hamilton baby.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
A love child, if you
Mm.
will, between Hamilton and
Okay,
Fernando.
okay,
Yeah, we
okay.
got that.
Let's be quick. I saw on social media, I think Daniel Ricciardo was in
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, and again,
How do you
and
feel about that,
Kevin
Shelley?
Magnussen was also not in this race. Ollie Behrman sitting in for him, and so
Deeper question, was Kevin Magnussen even in Brazil?
no, I
He's
don't
Mom is
resting up.
convinced that Kevin is like not coming back.
that they quietly ushered him out
They
and said
said
he's
that.
sick.
Who said
Well,
that, Sarah?
Mom.
James Hinchcliffe or something.
Well, at the race in Mexico, they said this is
Yes.
Kevin Magnussen's last
Stop.
That's what I'm
race.
saying. I'm like, it
still
was
do not
leaked,
believe
and then
that.
it slipped out of his mouth, and then he was like, I'll just pretend I didn't say that.
stop.
I don't think James Hinchcliffe said it, though. It was Alex Jacques who said it.
Somebody said it.
Somebody
I could
said
not
it.
care less who it was.
But
Shelley?
then he didn't even like make an appearance at any of it. Like, how sick are you where you're not there for 3 days? Is his wife
I think
pregnant?
he
Anne?
was probably sick. I
Hmm.
don't believe in this conspiracy. All I'm trying to bring up is like how these
She's-
drivers were like, peace out. I'm not dealing with this Brazil BS. Like I'm grateful that I'm watching it from far away. So
His wife is not pregnant because she had a baby not too long ago, 9 months after he got pole in Brazil last year.
Oh, Anne, that's too far.
And
Nobody
why
needed to
do
hear
you-
that.
Other
You didn't have to
people
say
commented
that.
that on social media. I just saw it, and
It's not that kind of podcast, Anne.
Anne.
leave her alone.
Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley.
We also
That's
didn't
okay.
talk about how now Bertoletto's in, 2 drivers are out.
Yeah.
Sarah, give us your take.
Yeah.
I saw today at work. I was in the basement getting pipe cleaners, and I
Not the
opened
basement.
Instagram,
Stop.
and I saw Joe's Notes app post that he's no longer
Aw.
at stake. It was, and then Valtteri did like a reel, and he basically was like, "Yeah, you guys probably saw this already. I guess the news is kind of out. I'm not going to be with stake."
But when
He
one
was
door
so
closes, another
casual.
door opens. That's what he
What's the other
said.
door?
He said that.
Mercedes reserve driver. That's what people think, but I really don't
Oh.
know.
Yeah, that
Maybe.
tracks. I think
We
that
used
makes
have fun.
sense.
We want a peaceful retirement for Botas. I think we just want him cycling,
Yeah.
doing
Surfing.
fun things. Yeah,
Go
I'd
off and
honestly
enjoy his
watch
life with
that.
his lovely partner.
Yeah.
Joe, on the other hand, I don't know where he's going.
I'm sad about Joe a little.
I
Really
am as
like
well,
him.
I feel like
but
he's gonna end up in either like IndyCar or Formula E or
Formula E,
Formula E could be
that
good.
feels right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. We'll see.
It's
The-
giving me
Well, the Kick
energy.
Sauber messaging was like these 2 drivers did not what was the wording? It's like they did not provide us with the results that we needed. And I
It
was
said
like,
It had
this
nothing to
is-
do with the car.
I was like, this is so
Kick Sauber.
distasteful.
That is so
They were like,
dumb.
They're both leaving.
That
They
is
did not
so
give us the
dumb.
results we needed. And I'm like,
You know
I am mad
someone
about
working in
this.
admin who did not write that and knows how dumb it is to say that, had to hit
Ugh.
post on social media, knowing full well what a dumb thing that is to say.
You think it was Benotto? Is that his name?
It was
Mattia?
Binotto.
He's actually a social media admin intern this year, but he's gonna
No,
drive next
he's
year.
the one who
He's the
was
one who
like, "This
wrote
is
it
how
and
you
then
write it.
told
Say it
them.
was
We're
their
a good
fault."
team.
Yup.
So sad. So
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. This year, we've had a few years with like pretty stable rosters. And next year is going to be crazy. Literally nothing changed this year from last year.
I'm
Next
excited for the
year
change.
is like all
So
new,
much change.
tons of rookies. I think
Don't
the racing is going to be crazy. I'm just excited for the chaos.
It's gonna be really fun. But it is kind of funny how so many of the drivers who are going to be considered rookies next year already have like multiple
Yeah,
races
I understand that, but it's
because
like
different random circumstances.
not
But it's
really a
gonna be
full
so fun.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be super
It's
fun.
gonna be a good season. Franco better have a seat.
I know I'm going to be so mad if Franco doesn't have a seat.
Yeah.
Axis, Franco's really good.
Access.
Is that their
I was
name?
like, what is she talking about? Okay, let's discuss
Apex.
access again for a minute.
Apex.
I like that I was immediately like, oh no, I know what we're talking about. Access, my favorite racing team.
I'm the Axis team.
Okay, so what did Apex say the results were this week?
Sunny started in 14th.
22nd.
22nd. 22nd.
Are they gonna have some like
Wait, but then
last
he
to
finished.
first
What did he?
narrative?
Like 4th or something.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No.
Axis.
The thing is, we talked about this, and I don't think they're there at every race to record the movie, so it's confusing about like what races are going to actually be highlighted / in the movie, and if they have to like CGI or like implant their
What
logo on
happens
stuff, but
when
it's
they're on the podium?
exactly. I mean, they probably planned it far in
Exactly.
advance, but in my
There's a
mind,
second podium ceremony.
I just hate, well, I love the idea of like they don't know how every race is going to turn out, and they're just like scrambling to get these bits and pieces that'll be interesting for the movie.
You don't
Okay.
think there's a plot? You think that they're just filming willy-nilly and
How
then they're
could
gonna
they have
figure it out?
anything?
I don't think
It's
that
not
there
like
was
a
a preset
mockumentary.
They're
plot.
doing it too weird on social media, being like at every
Right.
race, this is where we are. And I'm like, this is going to be your lore. So then
Yeah.
how are you putting that into the
It's
movie?
very art house,
Ugh.
avant-garde. It's really
I can't believe you're
conceptual
following their social media,
filmmaking.
Shelley.
It's
Well, a bigger question is like,
hilarious.
why do they have social media that's posting about their results in
That
real
is
time?
actually the real
Yeah.
Because the movie is about the 2024 season.
And then what would be the utility of that though, Sarah? That's like, I'm like, are they going to
So
use fan
they
tweets
can
about
show
it to put in
footage
the
of
movie?
people opening their Instagrams and reading about the Axis team results.
Ugh,
It's the world's
You can,
premier
the
Wattpad
real life utility does
written
not make
movie.
sense to me.
I think it's a hype thing. I think everybody
Must.
saw what Barbie did and they were like, we could do that.
Did
We could do what Barbie
that, though?
did. Barbie created a moment. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's like trying to create a moment.
I will say this, Axis is doing a pretty good job of creating a moment for me.
They are on this podcast.
I am intrigued. I will say this. I'm intrigued. If they made a mini series, like a TV show, I would watch it.
Ugh.
But a movie, I
I
will not watch. No.
I rewatched the trailer. It was atrocious. Like
Well, they're still filming.
they're
No.
still filming, but the way that they're setting it up again, like they're like these teams, they're like listing all these teams. They have the straights. We have to get them in the corners. I'm just like, this is
Sexy.
so
It's Moneyball.
dumb. I hate this. I
Oh,
don't want
maybe
to
it
watch
is
the
going to be
movie.
like Moneyball. And then
Ugh.
next question, the other teams, do
Moneyball
they
is a
list them like they're the
historical
real
film.
teams?
Just say it again, Grace. I don't know.
They're the
What?
real teams. They're the real teams, Shelley. They're like
I don't
Ferrari's
know.
got us
Yeah,
in the
well,
straights.
they're like listing all the teams, and then there was this shot that I'm like, I don't know if I ever watched the trailer, but like it was Brad and the other actor like next to all the drivers. Like obviously there's Max. And I'm like, they're fully in the movie. So
Our drivers?
they're
Yes.
all
Okay.
there.
And how
I
much
hate
money
it.
are they getting paid for this? Or is
So
Liberty
much.
Media like, that's a part of your contract as a driver?
That's interesting.
I think it's all written in because the F1 logo is literally the movie logo. Like they have some sort of partnership, and
They are trying to
don't
do a
agree.
Barbie.
Yeah, they are, and
I think they're trying to make it look so bad. Everybody is just like, what
real
is
fans
happening.
will
I want
know.
to see what this is actually going to
Real
end up being.
We're gonna watch and we're gonna be like, this makes no sense. This
Yep.
is like
Uh-huh.
We'll all go watch it
Oh,
once and then they'll make their
no.
money.
At this point, I feel like I'll let you guys watch it and just tell me because I think I will like literally throw something at the screen, being
So you'll
like,
follow their social
don't do
media.
this. I don't actually follow them. I like check their page.
She checks in.
Shelly meets a boy who tells her he loves F1, and she says, "Explain DRS to me." This is the vibe that Shelly's giving right now.
I saw there have been a few videos on Instagram or social media that I've seen where girls have like worn like driver shirts and older men have been like, do you know anyone on that team? And then they'll like go into like,
School
yeah, I
them.
know them. Yeah, basically the whole like, you have that band tee. Can you name any of the 3 songs? And then
You have that One Direction tee. Do you know any of those boys?
Yeah.
yeah. Last thing I wanted to bring up and is that Nico got a black flag during the race. Devastated because he not only was on my fantasy, but he was doing I don't think he was
What
doing
happens
well.
on your fantasy when you get a black flag?
I have to say,
Dina, -10, whatever.
for fantasy during the
Oh
sprint,
no, my fantasy.
I had Nico
Back.
who crashed. I had
This is
Did
gonna be
Alex
good.
crash during the
did.
sprint?
I had Franco and
Alex.
Carlos on all my teams.
I had K-Mag, who you
Not
lose
even there.
points
Not even there.
because he's not
That's on
competing.
you.
Overall, for the sprint, I got -30 points.
You guys are really keeping track of things.
I moved
haven't
up
looked
one
since then.
place for one of my
Okay.
teams.
Did you see Nico's like explanation of why he got the black flag?
Tell
He
us.
was like, all of the marshals were like dancing and cheering, and they were like, "You still got this, come on, better!" And like we're telling
Too
him to finish the
excited.
race, so he just went out to continue on.
But you're saying they were so excited and they're like, we're gonna help you. And they
Yes, and he was
That's
like,
so
"Okay."
cute. That's so funny.
I'm so sad for him.
Same thing
Oh.
happened to Sonny during the race, but he didn't get a black flag.
He got pushed back
Really?
onto the track.
I think she's
No.
making that up. She doesn't know
He got
anything.
pushed back onto the track and he didn't get a black
Mm.
flag.
It was funny
The
though that
Lord, Sunny Hayes.
we all clocked it. We were like a black flag. What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, and they didn't
That-
really explain it.
Obviously, nothing good.
I didn't watch anything of the race until after my concert and after I got to dinner with friends after the concert. And I did such a good job of like not going on social media, not seeing spoilers on my phone, except someone had put in the group chat something about a black flag. And in my head, I thought black flag meant like the rest of the race is canceled
Done.
because everything is too crazy.
No, they would never.
And I didn't realize
never.
that it was just a flag saying a driver cannot continue to compete.
It's serious. And
It is serious.
Sorry.
It's like a
I shall
red
treat it
card.
seriously.
There was also Williams had like 2 DNFs, and I know that in my
Williams.
mind, I was like, they can only fix one. Like I knew they could only fix one, and I was like, are they gonna give it to Alex? And they didn't. So that was kind of a surprise.
Well, I think
And I
Alex's
will
car
say-
was a lot more smashed up, and they can't switch the cars between the drivers at that point.
Oh.
But didn't they? Like
What did they do with
earlier this year?
Logan? I don't know what they did.
They did, but
They
it
gave,
was
yeah,
That
they
was
gave-
prior to quali. That's prior to quali.
because he
So I think that's
crashed it in
different.
free practice.
I don't know the rules.
Oh,
I just know
boy.
that they
Because
gave
they didn't
Logan's
have
car
enough
to Alex.
chassis. It wasn't time.
Yeah, and it was just the chassis. It wasn't like everything
Oh,
else with the
God.
car.
I
Yeah, it was a
believe.
pretty bad one for Alex. He was
Yeah.
going to be P2.
Ugh.
Wait, was he?
He was P2 at one point, and then I
Oh.
think
He was
he
gonna
ended
be
up qualifying
P7.
seventh.
I think, yeah, like
No,
P6,
he
P7.
was, someone check it. he was going to be P2, the time was running out, and then he crashed like the
I'm not gonna check
race
it.
before.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah, he
mean
was
he
in P2.
hadn't?
He crashed, and then other drivers set more time, so he
Yeah.
ended up P7.
Yeah.
But it was close. It was like getting to the end, and it was going to be his highest in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the point, do you just like dip out of the race? Like you're just done for the weekend and you don't want to.
I didn't see him in the garage at
That's what I'm
all.
saying. He's like, take me
Mm.
home. And
Well, he
That's
posted
not-
today that he's at the headquarters.
Albon was 7th after the crash.
but what was I gonna say?
A great race, a crazy race, probably a
Yeah.
dangerous race, but that's what you sign up for when you're an
French
F1
really showed what they were
driver.
made of. I feel like nobody talks about the French being good in the wet.
Let's not
That's
do
all for
this.
tonight's episode.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
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 Arrivederci.